Hey guys, so this is my next installment of the trauma series, and I'm going to talk about college and beyond. So, when I was dating the guy that was in the army, who was not stationed locally, a lot of times I would just go to my friends to the military base near where we grew up, because you could go in as a civilian and go to the clubs that were on base, which was so much fun. Like, I went with my girlfriends. A couple of my friends were dating guys who were in the Navy, so it was just good fun. I'd go and hang out with them, and everybody knew I had a boyfriend, and it was not a problem. Like, the guy would hit on me and be like, sorry, got a boyfriend, move on. And it was cool. Or my friends would tell them before they even tried to hit on me, like, whatever. And it was cool. Like, I felt super safe. And there was a guy that was part of a group of friends, and we would talk, but it was like not like he never tried to hit on me. He knew I had a boyfriend. Like, one time he'd said, hey, if you and your boyfriend ever break up, and I was like, don't take this wrong way, but if him and I ever break up, I'm not looking for another man. And it was just like a running joke kind of thing. And it didn't go often. Like, I would go before I moved up to college. I maybe went once a month because that's when they would go. And I would only go with my friends one. I would never go alone just because I don't trust people. Newsflash. So one day I'm at school after I moved up to college, and I was in my dorm, and I get a phone call from this guy that hangs out with my group. And he's like, hey, some of us came up to a party. Where's your dorm at? And I was like, I already told you what dorm I'm in. He's like, yeah, I know, but what room are you in? He's like, I don't think you can come up here because it's a girls' floor. And he's like, well, I'll see if I want to let me in. He's like, well, I'll come and visit you. I'm waiting for the other guys to get here. And I was like, okay. So he came up, and we were just talking or whatever, and I was doing my homework, and trigger warning, don't go beyond here if you have issues with assault or weapons or violence. I'm going to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The next thing I knew, there was a sharp metal object involved, and yeah, one thing led to another. And so after that happened, I told him to get out. I locked my door. My roommate was away, so I was by myself for the week. And that was a Saturday night, I think, maybe a Friday. I don't even honestly know what day of the week it was. And I didn't answer my phone when it rang. People knocked on my door. I didn't answer my door. I got an invitation to a sorority slid under my door, and I just threw it in the trash. I was spiraling quickly. And then one of my friends, who I want to think was Russian. I mean, she was American, but she was like Russian. Her family was Russian, so she had an accent. She came to my door, and she just kept knocking on my door and knocking on my door. She's like, what's going on? I haven't seen you in days. What's going on? Like, I did not leave my room. I didn't leave my room to, like, I would sneak out in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I would hold it all day long. Like, if I heard someone in the hallway, or if I knew somebody was an open door, I wouldn't go. So I literally would hold it all day and then just go at night when everybody was sleeping. So we had like a common area bathroom. And I finally opened the door and let her in. She's like, what is going on? And I told her everything, and she called the police, and they came. And it had only been like 3 days, maybe 2 days. While the police were standing there, my phone rang, and the police officer answered my phone, and it was this guy. And she says to me, it's that guy. And she's like, do you want to talk to him? And I'm like, yeah. And I got on the phone with him, and I'm like, you did this to me. And I used the word. And he said, I know, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking straight, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it doesn't matter, you still did this to me. And I don't care if you're sorry, you still did this. And so then she talked to him on the phone, and he admitted to her that he did it. And what happened next was me going to the hospital, having all the tests done that are really hard to go through, and then going back a couple weeks later and finding out I was pregnant and having to deal with that. And so all of that, I decided to drop out of school and move back home. Then I had pressure from my family because my aunt knew of a couple who desperately wanted a child and I should just give it to them. And there was a lot of pressure for that or the alternative, which I am not. If someone else does it, it's their life, their body. But for myself, I do not believe in it. For myself, and I refuse to do that as well. And I was getting such pressure. I was being told that I couldn't live with my grandparents if I kept it. I was being told that I was going to be on the streets, and I was petrified. And I was working, so I was still going out of the house. And in the meantime, the guy I was dating struggled really bad with um, feeling like he hadn't been there. And I mean, I discussed all this in the relationships edition. You can go back and watch that one. And so we ended up breaking up, and then I ended up going back down to the base club to see my friends because I didn't know where else to go, and I didn't have anyone else I could talk to. And one of the guys that was part of the guy group and I were talking, and I was just telling him all this stuff, how my family sucked, how they said I was going to be homeless, but I never mentioned the whole pregnancy part. Um, and, I went up 2 weeks later by myself just to talk to this guy because he was easy to talk to and I needed someone to talk to desperately because if I tried to talk to my family, I just got, well, you have two options and they both start with A. And neither one of those were options for me. Um, and to this day, I still don't regret it. I'm going to make sure that's very clear. And so this guy and I were like hanging out, and then we started talking on the phone, and he'd call me because I couldn't keep driving up there. And we would talk on the phone, and I would talk to him about everything I was going through, and he was really understanding and seemed really sweet. And had I only known that was all a lie, because he convinced me to marry him. And that way I would have medical insurance, have the baby. My grandparents kept threatening to pull me off medical insurance. He said that I would have, you know, a stable income. We could live in base housing, so we wouldn't have to worry about somewhere to live. Like, everything just sounded really good. And I thought to myself, lots of people who aren't in love with each other get married every day. Like, people have arranged marriages, stuff like that. We can make this work. And I liked him. He was a nice guy. He was super supportive. And it was all well and good until after my daughter was born. And there was a fight with my family because, of course, we were waiting to get into base housing, and they were letting us stay with them until that happened. My grandmother got me black fabric to get married in, but I insisted on like an off-white. We got married about a month before my daughter was born, and then just everything went to carpe diem, like physical, emotional, everything for years, for a solid 94 to 98, so 4 years of it. I have a dent in my head from it. Like, it was bad. And then I finally got out with the help of my dad. He drove the U-Haul truck and moved me back to Connecticut under the understanding that, according, to what we were telling my ex, was that since his next duty station was back up where my family lived, I would go up there so we could save some money first, and then he would just come up, except as I got here, I told him I was leaving him. And so that was the next step.